I think I can speak for a lot of us when I say we're hungry for a Nintendo Direct. The lack of our typical June E3 Direct has left me feeling a little bit empty inside. I know it hasn't been that long, and the mini partner showcase was pretty good, but I'm ready to get full-on hyped for a big first-party Nintendo Direct. Our 2022 game lineup is pretty well laid out already. Splatoon 3, Bayonetta 3, Mario Rabbids, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and maybe Advance Wars will also see the light of day this year. But when it comes to 2023, we only know about one game, the sequel to Breath of the Wild, releasing in the spring. The rest of the year is a blank canvas, just sitting there waiting for game announcements. And a Nintendo Direct in September is the perfect place to get things started. But before we talk about what games we could possibly see, we first have to talk about whether or not there will be a September Nintendo Direct in the first place. Lately, we've gotten used to a certain Direct schedule. One in February, a big one in June for E3, and then one in September before the holiday season. That's exactly how it went in 2021, and 2022 started off in a very similar way with a February Direct as expected. Then, this past summer, we got a bit of a curveball, as there was no major Direct in June. We did get the Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase though, which I'll still count for the sake of the pattern. So despite how strange 2022 has felt, this pattern still gives me every reason to believe that in September we'll be back to regularly scheduled programming and finally get our big Nintendo Direct. And I want to note one more thing. While I think a September Direct would focus mainly on games coming in 2023, I do think there's a chance that we could see a surprise announcement for one or two titles sooner than that. September, especially early September, is a perfect time to reveal one more game for Nintendo's holiday lineup, releasing in November or December. One final big first-party release would be a huge benefit going into the holiday season, and a September Direct announcement for it would give Nintendo 2 months of lead-up, plenty of time to market the game properly. This is why I think some sort of Zelda release that's not Breath of the Wild 2 might make sense for this particular Nintendo Direct. For one thing, there's been some sort of Zelda retail release every year for the past 10 years. If a surprise Zelda game doesn't arrive late in 2022, this would break a decade-long pattern of yearly releases. And this raises the question, was this supposed to be Breath of the Wild 2, but the delay simply means they're out of luck? Or could another Zelda title come in at the last minute to serve as this year's release for the franchise? I actually think an HD remaster of Wind Waker or Twilight Princess HD could slot in very nicely here as a November release aside Pokemon, continuing the established pattern of annual Zelda releases. But of course, patterns are not law, and Nintendo could just break it at any time. But when a trend has existed for pretty much the last decade, that's really hard to ignore. There's also been rumblings of a supposed Metroid Prime remake set to arrive in 2022. But if you ask me, I don't see any reason to believe these rumors. What I do think is possible though is, believe it or not, a first look at Metroid Prime 4 in this September Direct. Call me crazy, but it's already been 4 years since the development restart, and maybe the body of work from before the restart wasn't completely scrapped either. I actually think Metroid Prime 4 is further along than a lot of people are expecting, and with 2023 being pretty much empty in terms of games to look forward to, for the first time ever, I have realistic expectations of Metroid Prime 4 news in a Nintendo Direct of the near future. A 2023 where Breath of the Wild 2 and Metroid Prime 4 both land is definitely the timeline I want to live in. I've been talking about the possibility of seeing Pikmin 4 for a while now, and while I predicted an October 2022 release to line up with the series anniversary, that's looking pretty unlikely right now due to what we already know is arriving that month. But, as I said, 2023 is wide open. The possibilities are endless, and Pikmin 4 finally releasing is very much an option. Development on this game was apparently confirmed a long time ago, and while I'm not sure how much I believe that anymore, I do think a brand new Pikmin game makes a lot of sense for the next year of Switch. For one thing, the console has yet to get an original Pikmin title. And Pikmin is probably right up there with Star Fox as the most popular Nintendo franchise not to get an original Switch game yet. I think the time is finally right, and from the bottom of my heart, seeing a Pikmin 4 trailer in a Nintendo Direct is all I want next month. I'm going to keep talking about Pikmin 4 time and time again until it happens, because you're supposed to manifest the things you want, right? When you're talking about Nintendo Directs, Mario always has to be in the conversation. We've had a ton of Mario spin-offs recently, so it's not like the plumber has been totally missing, but the Mario main series has been dormant since 2017. A reveal of the next 3D Mario, whether that's Super Mario Odyssey 2 or something new entirely, seems like the perfect option to maybe end the September Direct as that final one more thing. But actually, I don't think we'll see Mario just yet. I predict the next time we see him will be at a potential E3 Direct. I still think though, if we do get a September Nintendo Direct, it will end with something just as big. It seems like it might be finally time for the title and release date of the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Let's put it this way, if back at E3 2021, Nintendo thought a 2022 release was even possible for this game, then even with the delay, I think we're definitely seeing something in September. And I think it's going to be a trailer revealing the game's title at the very least. Spring 2023 is getting dangerously close. And unless there's going to be another delay, we're way too close to this game to not know it by its real name by next month. And of course, there could very well be a few other surprise 2023 games revealed in a possible Nintendo Direct. It's way too wide open to speculate much about unannounced games, and I have zero grounds to believe that any of these even exist, but I can imagine a September Direct maybe featuring things like a new Star Fox, an HD remaster of Kid Icarus Uprising, an F-Zero game, a 2D Mario, a Donkey Kong release, Xenoblade Warriors, or maybe even a new Yoshi platformer, just to name a few. Whatever is to come in September, Direct or not, I'm excited for it. If I had to predict, I think we'll get a Direct the week of Monday the 12th, right after the launch of Splatoon 3. And if that happens to be true, what a week that'll be. That's gonna do it for me today. Thanks to everyone for checking out the video, and remember to keep it here for more quality Nintendo content leading all the way up to, hopefully, our September Nintendo Direct.